Look at this radio. Lights, switches, knobs, thumb control, momentary. Huh. Today we're going to talk about Axial, but more importantly, Spektrum electronics. This is my early Ford Bronco, and I'll post a photo of what this would look like if you were to buy it new out of the box. Came in two variants, white and kind of a aqua or teal. Probably teal is a better name for the color. And so I've done some things to mine. Obviously, I took all of it apart. I painted the exterior. This is a Lexan body. I painted the exterior brown and then put all the black molded bits back in it. I changed the wheel. I actually think this is the stock tire. I think this came with Falcon Wild Peaks. Well, here's how you tell. Yeah, right there. That's the stock setup for this vehicle. And so I left that as the spare. And then I ordered new wheels and put these on it. I did run this in some water and completely saturated and ruined the foams because I left it sit and didn't take care of my truck. So those foams got thrown in the trash. Right? Yeah, I threw them out. Those foams got thrown in the trash. And then in here are some Proline single stage foams. I think those blue donut looking ones, they're quite firm, honestly, but I don't mind. I trail truck here. So anyway, I painted her brown. I put this winch fair lead on the bumper. This truck does not actually have a winch in it. I just put the fair lead and then glued a piece of string with a hook on it. Metal D-rings. Painted the Ford in silver on the front grille there. This comes with a stock light kit, obviously. Coming around to the back, I don't know why this guy's running around with detonator box and TNT. I'm not sure what he's up to. Seems kind of like a shady individual, but you know, you make those decisions. But anyway, got a little detonator box here. The detonator does move just for added effect, up and down. Pack of dynamite. Got his hat there on the center console. I don't know if you get a good look at that, but there is. He's got a revolver on the dashboard, Molotov cocktails and dynamite sticks strapped to his chest. This dude is definitely not heading to the park to run his puppy dog and have a picnic. He is up to no good. But just some cool details. He fit well. I think he looks good. I didn't have to cut his legs or anything like that. He doesn't quite reach the steering wheel. And if you look at the steering column, you can see a piece of wire loom. I added that just to extend the wheel a bit closer, because otherwise the wheel would be clear down here near the blinker lever. In way up here and even further away. But anyway, that's that's my early Ford Bronco. I also, which this has been covered in a previous video before. This truck is running Traxxas. I know. Traxxas 90 millimeter TRX4 shocks. This truck comes with 100 millimeter axial shocks, and it's sat too tall. So for me, anyway, matter of preference here. So I lowered the lower shock mount down to where the link is and used a longer screw and put 90s on it. And so now she sits low, but I like the stance. I really do. And then Spektrum, the X3. And then my Axial CJ7 is also running Traxxas 90 millimeter TRX4 stock suspension, because this also came with 100 millimeter shocks, I think. Let me grab one. Yeah, so this is what these trucks came with. And in my opinion, they just sat way too tall. And yeah, they do have, you can adjust the preload on them, but they kind of rolled. I don't know. I wanted them to sit lower. That's all I got. That's why I did what I did. So anyway, back to my Jeep here. And again, there's videos on this one also. This one hasn't had a whole lot of updates. I put these KC lights from RC 4-wheel drive on top. ARB pod lights, I think they were called. I don't know. They were on sale, so I snagged a set during one of the sales that they had going on. I am running these Nitto Trail Grappler tires on this one with just, I think, a stock foam. There's nothing fancy going on inside of here. And then I have Trio bead locks, which give you this nice center cap to hide your axle nut. I like that. And you get a considerable amount of flex still, even though I've lowered the truck and put 90 mil Traxxas shocks on it. She's a looker and a runner. And the reason I like these Trio bead locks is the offset isn't drastic and they're not wide. I tried some Enjoras on here and it put my tires way out. And I didn't really, there's actually a video of that if you go back and look, of this thing with those Enjora turbines on it. And I think they just stick out too far. And I didn't like it. Again, a matter of preference. You do get full light kit in this one. This truck is a little dusty, but so be it. Still got dirt in the tires from last season. Maintenance on the rig could be a little better. Anyway, I got a driver figure in there. I haven't added any other details. I'm going to, I just don't know what. There's some 3D printed things on the back shelf back there, like that cooler and that keg. I don't know. I might put those in here. This might be, this might be the party wagon, if you will. And so he might get a keg and a cooler. I don't know. I haven't decided. But anyway, he fits really well. I didn't have to cut his legs off either. You can let's see, what do I got? I got this little thing here. I can pull this pin, open the door, and then you can see there that he still has all of his feet. He hasn't been mutilated at all. That's lucky for him. There's no chance that this is going to accomplish, probably. Oh, looky there. For the win. But, yeah, that's about it, you know, and this does have a factory light kit. I might have mentioned that already. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of these two axial rigs. I did, at one point in time, own a Capra, not the four-wheel steer, like an OG Capra. And it was fun. I used it for a while. I had a lot of fun with it, but it was geared wrong. And yes, I know I could have done a bunch of stuff to it, but it was way too fast for what I wanted that thing to be. And at the end of the day, I just decided that it was something I could part with. And so a guy local in my area was looking for a Capra because he wanted to RC with his son. And I just said, hey, you know what? If you want to do some things with your son, I've got a truck. I'll sell you at a fair deal. I'm not trying to make no money or nothing. And so we met up, and he ended up buying it. And good deal. That truck's with a new owner and probably, you know, getting driven and being enjoyed. So, but anyway, back to these axial rigs here. I'm gonna pull the pins on this guy. I like how they're hidden. You notice how you don't see body pins in either of these? It's because they're all up underneath. So then you don't have these posts sitting here or in the back. And it's just such a good scale look. Kudos to Axial for that. I like it. Axial, speaking of Axial real quick, they have released this new, maybe it's not out yet, released, the, I don't know, some people are saying Helaman, which I didn't look it up, but my entire existence, and I've been wrong before, once, maybe twice, my entire existence on planet Earth, and I traveled to planet Earth in 77. That's how long I've been here. The lizard is a Gia monster, right? Gila monster or Gia monster? I don't know. It's a poisonous lizard, and I'm pretty sure that's what the new axial rig is named after, because it's got the picture of a lizard in the middle, but then it says Gilamon, and they just got rid of the stir for monster. But I don't know. What do I know? So anyway, I don't know if that thing's that's kind of like a rock buggy crawler thing. Its pins might be underneath. I haven't paid that much attention to it. I don't know if I'm interested in an 8th scale, whatever that thing is, with cutting brake. Is that what they call that? In the rear end, where you can just lock one wheel. Both of these have dig, by the way. We'll get into that. But yeah, that new one has like a cutting brake where you can pick which rear wheel you want to lock for even. I don't know, honestly. I don't know what the difference is. We'll pull this off here. This is a cluster of electrical mess because, I mean, it's pretty tidy, but because I added the ARB pod lights and such, it is what it is. You know what? You're not going to get a good look at that. Let's set you back off to the side. Actually, let's fix you to show the folks at home. These can be kind of a pain to get the bodies back on. I've found if I do the front, pop the fenders in, and then do the rear, okay, it's fighting me. Come on, work with me here. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. There we go. So they are finicky to get the bodies on and off of, but once they're on, and I run, well, we'll get into that also for what I use for batteries on these trucks. But there, I mean, once they're on, and they look super clean, in my opinion. Let's do this guy. So he's got two pullouts here. Flip him around to the back. And he's got two under there. And then straight up, and then we will unplug, because this just has stock light kit, headlights and tail lights. And we'll just unplug that. So now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of why we're here. All right, I went ahead and zoomed you in a little bit here. So this is what we get for stock electronics. This is the Spektrum Firma 40 amp smart ESC and receiver combo. A lot of people will tell you that Spektrum electronics are junk, they're no good, they should immediately be removed and thrown in the trash can and replaced with something better. I'm gonna take a different stance, and I'm going to say that I've had zero problems with Spektrum electronics. I believe both of these trucks have the same system. The one thing that I will say is the tiny servo, this one still works, and my Jeep still works. These are the servos for dig. But in my Capra that I sold, that dig servo failed. So I will say that happened, but I don't use dig. I'm a trail truck guy, so it didn't bother me. I went in, I unplugged it, and I tied the wires back, and I just basically bypassed the dig servo in my Capra. But anyway, as I was saying, I don't mind this system at all. And if you look, you're probably not going to be able, you won't be able to see it. But right here, behind the power switch, are labels for all of your pins. And one of them says program, PROG. So what you can take a Hobbywing program card, plug it into that port, and you can get all of your settings adjusted here for what you want or how you want your truck to operate. I might get some of this wrong, but there's punch, drag brake, voltage cutout, BEC settings, all of those things can be changed in this system. And the other thing that I really like about these Spektrum smart systems, this is the battery that I choose to run in my Spektrum trucks. These are my Axial batteries. I have 2 of them. This one's labeled 1. Spektrum Smart Technology G2 3S 5000 milliamp. Now, because the bodies can be a little finicky, I'm a trail truck guy. I've said that I don't know how many times, but because the bodies can be a little finicky, I don't want to be getting in and out of these trucks any more than I need to. So I will park a 5000 milliamp hour hard case Spektrum Smart G2 right there, power it up, put the body on, and I can go trailing all afternoon. I can easily probably get, I bet, between 2 and 3 hours out of this thing. Hiking a trail, running my dog, stopping, you know, just a normal afternoon out, and this will last all day. Now, I never want to go on the trail and end up with a dead truck, so I always bring a spare battery in my backpack. And that kind of brings me to the next thing I love about the Spektrum Smart System is, here we're back at this Spektrum DX3. Let me zoom you back out here. Hold, please. I honestly really like this radio. Here is your momentary switch to operate your dig servo. I believe he is plugged into channel 3. And then of course you've got your throttle and your steering. Now, if you like to film, stock shot. If you like to film run footage of your trucks, like I do, this gives you the little tab for one-handed driving. So I could be holding a camera on a gimbal like this, or a selfie stick, and standing upright. I don't need to squat down and like get my body all contorted to film some videos. I can just put my camera on the end of a selfie stick and I can stand upright, hold the camera down at an angle on this hand, pretend this is holding the camera, and then I can just steer with this. That's full lock, and that's full lock. So that's honestly super handy. And then I already talked about the momentary dig. I've got steering rate, brake rate, steering trim, throttle trim. I can also reverse my steering from normal to reverse. I can change my throttle direction from normal to reverse. And then I can also, even if I wanted to let, say you ran into somebody that wasn't RC experienced and they were like, hey, I want to drive that truck. And you were like, maybe you're not into letting people drive your trucks, or necessarily maybe a kid, and you're like, oh, he's just going to crash it. You can make an adjustment right here, and you can take this thing down to half throttle. It's almost like training mode in a Traxxas truck. I know, I said Traxxas. We talked about them already. So you can slow this down 50, 75, and 100% of the throttle. I run it in 100 because I feel like I'm fairly experienced with RC cars, and I'm comfortable driving my own trucks with the ability to have full throttle. So now, backing up to where I was supposed to get to when we were talking about the battery, I throw a spare in my backpack because I just don't want the off chance that I run out of battery somewhere in the middle of nowhere and then I got to carry my car back. But with the Spektrum system, smart battery, Spectra Firma ESC receiver combo, and a Spektrum DX3, I get these lights right here. And some people might say that these lights are for how much juice your transmitter has. That is not true. These lights are for how much juice your smart battery has. So I could be, say you only brought one battery. This is a good example. You could go out trailing, hiking with your family or your dog or your friends or alone, whatever you're into. As soon as you get down to where this light is blinking or perhaps out and now you're on this light, you've used 50% of your battery. There's 4 lights here. That's how math works. 25, 50, 75, 100. Little math lesson for you. It's time to turn around. If you've only got one battery, this means it's time to turn around or my truck's going to be dead before I get back to where I started. So I think that's a freaking super cool system. And then, like I said, I bring a spare battery. You never know when you're going to have problems. Things happen on the trail. It's just the nature of RC. But this does not work unless you use all of this stuff together. And it's a great system. I've never had Spektrum light on fire. I've never had Spektrum just fail or stop working, with the exception of one dig servo in an OG Capra. It's the only problem I've ever had. I've never had an issue with this radio. Once I set these up the way that I like them with my program card, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I don't want people to get discouraged and thinking, you know, if you go buy that Jeep, this is no longer available. This was discontinued, which is a bummer because this is a great RTR. But if you were to go buy that, it's going to cost you $500. But I don't want you to be discouraged from buying that because somebody else said, well, as soon as you buy it, you need to gut it and put another $100 or some freaking dollars worth of electronics, these amazing electronics, into it to make it worth a crap. That's not true. You can buy an RTR and go enjoy it. And that's my point of this video. I like Spektrum. And I built an RC, switching gears a little bit. I built an RC 4-wheel drive K5 Blazer. I did the builder's kit, K5 Blazer body. And guess what I put in it for electronics? Spektrum DX3 and a Spektrum receiver. I bought the radio receiver combo. I think it's great. It gives me all the stuff that I want. And I love it. Now, I will say in that truck, because they were cheap, I did put a Hobbywing 1080 G2 or V2, sorry, version 2 of the Hobbywing 1080 ESC or speed controller, and Holmes Hobbies Crawlmaster Sport for the motor. And that truck is awesome. RC 4-wheel drive. I know. Maybe we should do a video about how bad those are too. We'll do that in the future. How about that? So, yeah, I don't know why all the hate with Spektrum. I don't know. I don't understand. I have no issues with Spektrum stuff. And until I do, I'm going to continue to run it. And that's kind of how I do all of my RTRs anyway. I'm an RTR guy. I like them. I'm a trail truck guy, so I don't abuse my stuff. I drive them until it breaks. If this were to fail on me, then I would have to look at upgrading, and I would probably just put a Fusion in here. But I'm not going to take this out. There's nothing wrong with it. Throw it in the trash can and just put a Fusion in because somebody else said that I should. So I think you should just form your own opinions. If you like the truck, don't let anybody tell you that the truck you like is junk. Don't let that happen. One last thing before I let you go. All right, sticking with Axial. Who remembers the OG SCX 24s? Huh? Who remembers them when they first came out? The C10, I think, the Chevy pickup, the Deadbolt. Those were early SCX 24s. And this AX4, which I never had a problem with this either, but this AX4 was what you got. Well, now, guess what? Guess what? This is what you get with an SCX 24. Wait, what? Spektrum SLT2. And it's an upgrade. Wait, Spektrum is an upgrade? Yeah, that's right. Spektrum is a freaking upgrade. And this radio is, it does exactly what I need it to do. Car goes, car steers. All beautifully fits in your one hand. Big fan. So that's gonna do it, man. I run Axial, I run Spektrum. I like their stuff. I'm not sure if the new Guillemon, Potato, I don't know if that thing's running Spektrum. I haven't paid that much attention. If it is, great. Get a smart battery. Know what your battery's doing out on the trail. And have a blast. So, that's all I got, guys. I appreciate you watching. Run what you love. That's what I do. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.